Cannes 2018, it's great to speak to brands and what they're doing in marketing, but one brand or family of brands that has certain challenges, should we say, compared to many others is Philip Morris International. Let's speak to the CEO, Andre Calantzopoulos. You've got a pretty tough gig in marketing.
Well, first of all, to put a context, we've set a new vision for our company, which is to replace cigarettes with smoke-free alternatives that are better for people and people around them. So we have innovative products and we have the scientific substantiation that they have the potential to reduce the risk. But our challenge is we have an innovative product, but we need to convince smokers to switch and governments to help. And I think that's where creativity has to play a big role. And the reason we're here in Cannes is to explain our case, explain our vision, what we're doing, and ask for help for other partners to find solutions and convince governments and, most importantly, the people who smoke around the world.
You're probably the biggest brand here on the beach. You've got a very large space. Is that the reason why you wanted to make such a big statement about what you were going to do going forward as a business?
Well, I think the purpose of being here is to reconnect, I would say, with the advertising agency and, most importantly, also the PR, because I think that's an enormous marketing and PR effort. And I think Cannes is the right place. This is all we are trying to achieve, is get the help we need, because we are transforming the company internally. We are, bringing new talent in to address the new challenges in technology and innovation, in more consumer centricity, but we also need, help from the outside. So I think it's not about a statement, it's about us explaining our case. I think we have a very good purpose. It makes sense when you have innovative products that can reduce the risk to make them available to people. But clearly, we have restrictions in certain markets about what we can do. We need the help of governments so we can go much faster in, essentially addressing the 1.1 billion men and women who smoke and convince them to switch as soon as possible.
When you were a fully cigarette company, back in the day, we would see your brands all over the place in sponsorship deals, in advertising, in press, out of home. All of that got cut off, certainly in a lot of markets.
Yeah.
As you move forward into alternative technologies for smokers, what marketing tools are you going to be using?
Well, just now, in the vast majority of countries, we are bound by the same restrictions as they apply to cigarettes, because there is no differentiation amongst tobacco products. So the first thing is to explain to regulators and parliaments that not all tobacco products are the same. So there has to be some degree of differentiation, because if we take the UK as an example, you cannot really say anything about the product to people. So how are you going to convince them to switch if you cannot explain what the product is, what is not, because it's not risk-free, but it's better for them and the people around them. So that's where we need to have the dialogue, both with the public health community and obviously the government, so we adapt the legislation to reflect what these products are, and most importantly, to make them available to consumers and inform them about them.
Can you imagine if those rules changed, that you would start going back to using the more familiar territory or familiar tools, if you like, that you used to use with cigarettes, or do you think the world's moved on?
First of all, today marketing and brands are what people experience, and that's the theme also here, not what you tell them about the product. Here, clearly, we need to explain the functionality because it has health-related impacts, obviously, and communications. So, and I know there is a concern that there is some degree of freedom, you will see normalization of nicotine and so on. This is not at all what we're talking about. It's have a notch more ability over a period of time. So let's say over 5 years, we set a target with the government to say, okay, if we get 50% awareness of this category, that's enough, we started it, and then we can go back to normal. This is not about free-for-all at all discussion.
So you're not really marketing to the general public, you're marketing to governments and health agencies and the like?
Not at all. This is three totally related things, because you need to be technical demand-side measures that differentiate the products. Of course, you have to convince the smokers and also the non-smokers, because this product does not impact them. But for that, you need the freedom to communicate to a certain degree, subject to defining exactly what it is, because it's different in different countries. And that's what we're asking. And also regulation on how you develop these products, how you assess them scientifically, how you bring them to market, and most importantly, how you survey post-market. Because you need to see that what you've seen in clinics is actually happening in real life, and also, measure any of the unintended consequences you may have or concerns expressed rightly by the public health community. That is, are there going to be more teenagers starting? People that have quit may relapse. So all this needs surveillance post-market, which we put in place already in countries like Japan. There is absolutely no red flag after 3 years in Japan, and approximately 20% of the market having switched. We have 5 million plus people in Japan that have switched to this. But this surveillance has to continue. And then, to be technical, you need also epidemiological data that really quantifies the degrees of any tobacco-related disease. But that requires a regulatory framework.
But if you were a stopping smoking product, nicotine, Nicorette, those sort of things, you can advertise those. Do you want to see vaping reclassified?
Well,
so that you can then engage in normal
markets. To a certain degree, you need regulation that is commensurate to the risk profile of a product. Cigarettes have the highest risk profile, so it's normal that you have the highest restrictions and the highest taxation. These products have to be communicated. At the end of the day, people who smoke need to know what this product is, that it's not risk-free, that is not safe, but it's much better than cigarettes, and all the communication necessary for that, so that they understand what real choices they can make.
Hello, I'm James Wright. Thanks for watching Marketing Media Money. To check out more online videos, just click on the boxes, and don't forget to subscribe to the CNBC Life channel at the bottom of the screen.